So hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel to yet another video about this beautiful camera, about the X-T5. Today I'm going to share with you my impressions of this camera, how it felt to shoot pictures, how it felt to shoot video, and I'm going to share my impressions about it more on a emotional side than on a technical side. So you won't see any, side-to-side comparisons of the pictures or something like that. I'm just here to talk about my feelings with it, and you may wonder, why is he still talking in English? I'm talking about that at the end of the video, so stay tuned. And in this studio it's like 40 degrees, like in here. It's so warm here in Munich, so I'm melting a bit, so I hope you don't mind. But I wanted to do this video today for you guys and to share my impressions about this camera here. So let's talk about the ergonomics and the display and the EVF. I really like the ergonomics of this camera, especially compared to the X-T4. They improved it, with this grip, which feels so much better in the hand, and I didn't thought it was possible. It feels that much better than the X-T4. I don't want to put the old camera in my hand anymore, so I just want to have this here. So it feels so much more stable and compact, and it has like the perfect ergonomic size for my hands. And it also depends, of course, on your hands. If you have more bigger hands or smaller hands, maybe you need an extra grip or something like that. But for me, it's the perfect amount of camera material, if you want to say so. And the camera just looks beautiful. It's really well built. You have the dials here, and also the return of the tilt screen, and which is a very much discussed topic about this camera, because they returned to the old display of the X-T3, which you can flip up or flip to the side, but you can't flip it all around to see yourself. And as of a photographer's point of view, I prefer this way more than this, because it's quicker, you feel more sneaky. And also for video, if you are behind the camera, this is more than enough. I can make really good videos with this. It only changes when I'm in front of the camera. As soon as that happens, I miss this flippy screen, so I'm using the X-T4 to film, and as of right now, and so I can see myself, I can see in the frame which I'm into, and I can look if it's okay or if it's bad, if the autofocus works. So if you're more in front of the camera, maybe the X-T4 is a better choice for you. If you're more behind the camera, this is way better, believe me. And the EVF of this camera is also quite improved about the X-T4. It feels bigger, and it feels like the colors are more accurate, and it feels more like you are in another world compared to the X-T4, where it's smaller, and I always felt like the colors were a bit off. And especially when I'm shooting black and white, it felt like it had this bluish tone. You can regulate it in the settings, but this is straight out of the box, perfect, and as it should be. I didn't see the XH2 or XH2S screens yet, but they will be better than this, but this is more than enough. You can use it for professional work, for hobby work, and you will be really happy. And also the display is the same, I think, like in the X-T4, and it's fine. It's not as good as the full frame cameras, which have bigger screens and bigger resolution, but more than enough to rate your image, to look at that and feel like, oh, I'm in focus here, and so it's perfectly fine for me. So let's talk about the battery life, which is also quite improved to the X-T3, a bit improved to the X-T4, and I feel like they will put this battery in every Fujifilm camera from now on, and I'm really happy about it, because it's way better than the old battery, and you don't have to worry about battery life again. So let's talk about image quality now, which is some improvement when you think about it, because it's the new 40 megapixel sensor compared to the old sensor of the X-T4 or older cameras. And I didn't think it would be that much better for me, because now I can crop into the image, I can zoom in and see more details, or reframe my frame and maintain the image quality. And you know, the old sensor is pretty good. It's really, really good still, but I don't want to miss the 40 megapixels again, and I'm really fond of it and I really like it, and the colors are beautiful. Every picture turns out really, really good in JPEG, of course, and also in RAW, of course. You can, you know, reframe, you can change the light and all the things, and you have a really good dynamic range within, and so no complaints about the new sensor. No issues about the ISO noise. It's totally fine. You won't have an issue. You will see a bit of more grain, of course, compared to the older one. This should not be a topic to talk about because it's totally fine. The images look beautiful and you will really be happy with them. So let's now talk about the autofocus, which is really improved compared to the X-T4. And I mean that because I also didn't think it would be that much better, but it really is. Especially with the last firmware update, they improved it quite a bit. If you use face eye auto detection, it always finds the eye, and only in a few situations it has some problems, but all in all, like the new subject detection works really good, like on dogs or cars or planes or trains, and it works really, really good. And especially with the new 40 megapixel sensor, compared with it, it seems like really they did a really good job here. I only have an issue if I'm shooting, you know, like for example a person right in front of a crowd when you're at a festival or something like that. As soon as other people walk in the back, the camera often won't know how to decide which person it should focus, and then it changes from back and forth. And even if I have my little square thingy on the face of my subject, it doesn't matter. It just picks whatever it wants, and it seems like it's a bit random, you know, when you get your focus right. And I think Fujifilm should fix this issue, you know, with the next firmware update of the autofocus, and I think they will improve that also. But this is the only issue I saw. Like, it doesn't matter if it's subject, like a person or an animal. If there are more animals to it, it will hunt from one to another, and sometimes it won't return to your main subject, and then you have to like put the camera away and put it on again, and then you have the right focus again. But for my situations, you know, when I'm just shooting in an environment where are not as many people, or people like very far behind, no issue at all. It's that much better compared to the X-T4. It hunts less, it stays more on your subject, on the face or on the eye, and also when it turns around, it stays on the subject. And Fujifilm, really good job, and I want to see some improvements in the future, and there will be no talking point about the autofocus again in Fujifilm cameras if they fix this issue. In my opinion, we will have more in focus pictures than ever before in a Fujifilm camera, or maybe in the X-H2S it's a bit better, but compared to the other cameras, really, really good job. The X-T5 has the new f-log2 profile, which is really, really good. You have more like ways to edit it after in post, and you can retain more details in brighter areas or darker areas compared to the old f-log profile. You have the 4K 60 frames per second, almost the same specs like the X-T4, but improved in the bitrate, and that's perfectly fine for me for what I do, and it will be fine for 90% of all the people who are using it. If you want to have the best of the best in the Fujifilm system, you have to use the X-H2S or the X-H2. For most of people, and also for me who I use this professional, more than enough in the video side. So conclusion, is the X-T5 a camera which you should think about buying? And let me tell you, from my point of view, it's absolutely worth the money. You get the better autofocus, you get improved image quality with the 40 megapixels, and better ergonomics, you know, compared to the X-T4. You have the tilt screen back, you know, and I really like that. The X-T4 is maybe an option for you if you are in a budget. You get it more cheaper now, and also if you're more in front of the camera, then you can look at yourself and see yourself. This will be maybe an issue for you with this camera, because you can't do that with this without external monitors. That's a point you should think about, but all in all, I can say Fujifilm, you did a great job. You returned back to the roots and you did everything right with it. So now you wonder why I'm still talking in English. It was very simple explanation for this, because I did this video in German and it felt really weird. And I was surprised, and I did think, this doesn't feel right, I just tend to use more the English words than the German words, and I thought, no, just return back to English. And I also saw your comments under the video, and some people were sad that they just joined the channel and they wanted to hear some more English stuff. So I thought about it and I just said, let's continue this in English. No decision is made in stone, and I think this will be fine. And if you look through my bad English in some moments, then I think we will be perfectly fine, and I will continue this channel in English. And see you in the next video. Thanks for all your support. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you didn't, thumbs down. And don't forget to hit the notification bell. And so let's see each other in the next video. Till then, have a good time and bye.